Hi guys, welcome to another episode of Salt and Light, a Dix470 catamaran build. Today we're going to start building the cold mould for the radius chine. I've got some plywood here that I purchased here in Japan. You know, it's only cheap plywood. It doesn't have to be anything fancy. All it is just has to be strong enough to hold its shape while we bend some plywood over it and glue it all together. So today we're going to be starting this process. I'm going to cut out bulkheads, if you like, of the stations, and then we'll just be fitting in some panels to hold them in place and to form the radius. Now the plywood here in Japan is a little bit is different to the size we have in Australia. Average size of sheet here is 1800 by 900. Whereas the marine ply coming from Australia is 2400 by 1200. So I'll need to extend these panels a little bit, but that's okay. We can just glue them together and to make them longer. So stay with us and we'll build a cold mould for the radius chines. All right, so now I'm going to start work on making the dividers for the mould. Now on the drawing calls for a radius of 488 millimeters. Now we don't have the luxury of having all the fancy tools here. We're pretty basic at the moment. Yes, I'll make a compass using this bit of cedar. I'll mark it out and then I will cut it out with the jigsaw and use this as a template to cut all the others and use a router to route out the other ones so they all become exactly the same as this one. I don't have all the tools that a normal wood shop would have, so we have to improvise a little bit. And so today, to make the radius on here, I'm just going to use my router. I've set the diameter or the radius. I'll put a screw through here and then I'll just use that as a pivot point to create a nice even radius. After that, I'll be cutting the slots for the braces and we'll get it all together. So now that I've got the first partition made, I'll use this as a template. I'll screw it onto the others and then route them all, and they'll all be the same. So now we've got all the dividers cut. Now I'm going to cut the slots in these panels which we made earlier. We glued them, had to make them a bit longer because the plywood here is a bit short. So now I'm going to cut some slots into these which will fit into the dividers, and that will then create the solid mould that we're looking for. So what I've done is I've made up a jig here to be able to create my slots in here. I did a test fit. One over here before just to check, and it fits really good, nice and tight. So it's not critical the dimensions of this as long as they're all the same. So what I'm going to do, the same as before, I'm going to set the jig up, cut one, and then use it as a template to do all the others to make them all the same. So I've got the cold mould for the radius chines pretty well done. There's a few little things I have to complete. Need to finish off just how I'm going to hold the straps onto the table and how we're going to secure it all to the table, and that's about it. Once that's done, it'll be ready for when the ply arrives. Just a quick update on that. The kit is on the water at the moment as we speak, and will be arriving here in Toyama in the next couple of weeks. The 3rd of May it's due to arrive. That is in the middle of golden wheat, so we will see how quickly we can get it released from the port after that. Just in terms of how we're going to make the radius chines, the sheets of 3mm plywood will get glued together into 2 layers. Using a ratchet strap, we'll strap them down over the mould and while the glue dries. Once the glue is dry, the straps will be removed and the plywood will hold its shape, ready to be cut into strips and then laid onto the stringers and fixed into position then. So it's exciting times. It won't be long. It's getting very close to time to actually start building Salt and Light, which is going to be an exciting project. If this is the sort of thing that you like to see, why don't you subscribe and join us on this adventure as we build this 47-foot Dix design catamaran. Should be a lot of fun. See you next time.